Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This gospel reading gives me the chills every time I read it. Goosebumps this morning, too. 35 years of this, still get goosebumps. A rich guy has an abundant harvest. Yay. To solve his problem of storing such bounty, he tears down his barns, building new ones. And then, fat and happy and prosperous, he says to his soul, "Soul, you have ample goods." Maybe, "Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Why don't you chill, eat, drink, and be merry?" But God says back to him, "Well, you're a dope. This very night, your life is demanded of you. All the stuff you've stored up, whose will they be?" Now, how come this has given me the chills for at least 35 years? We could do Freudian projection on me, if you'd like, about what I need to do. I'll do some of that. Perhaps it's the sharp delineation of the brevity and giftedness of life that comes to me in this. Like, Or how come I think it might hit me right on my security buttons. Security. Just what, Ted, is enough for you for a meaningful life? How much do you need? How much stuff, Ted, is enough after all? What intrigues me this morning is rather the clueless dialogue this man has with his soul, talking what he thinks is soul language, but is really ego language. Yet he hears back in soul language, clear and ambiguous. Let's look at this a little bit. There's nothing more universally recognized, debated, written about in various religious and philosophical traditions, or nothing as vague as the statement that human beings have a soul. What is it? Where is it? How does it communicate with me? Can you guys see it as I'm standing here? How can it communicate with us? If it exists, soul that is, just what's it got to do with my daily life anyway? I give thanks to veteran spiritual writer Quaker Parker Palmer in this book with a huge title. I'll read it twice, which I read years ago and found very helpful. The book is A Hidden Wholeness, The Journey Toward an Undivided Life, Welcoming the Soul and Weaving Community in a Wounded World. Let me try that again. It's a long one. A Hidden Wholeness, The Journey Toward an Undivided Life, Welcoming the Soul and Weaving Community in a Wounded World. He writes that the soul is that which is the life-giving core of human beings. And the soul has a hunger, a real hunger like the body has a hunger. And it's the hunger of the soul is for truth and justice, love and righteousness. Can you imagine that? The hunger in the human soul is for truth and justice, love and forgiveness. He writes, too, that soul has been lost to us amidst the frenzied noisiness of this world. The poet Douglas Wood describes soul this way: in its silence, it speaks of wholeness and integrity that comes from being what you are. What you are, not who you are, what you are. Palmer calls soul our backstage life, as distinct from our front stage life. Okay, backstage life, well, my front stage life, you're seeing it here. And director, yay. But backstage life is the stuff behind me. Front stage is the mask, the perception, and all the ego projections we do in our world in order to survive, right? Okay. Backstage stuff is the hot stuff behind us. Think about it, Palmer says. Infants just revel in who they are, front stage and backstage, right together. You know, as we get older, our front and our back stages become more and more separated. We sense, as emerging adults, that something is missing in our lives, and we search the world for it, not knowing that what is missing is us. It's a long way to Tibet to find out that what I'm looking for is right in my own skin. Palmer goes on to say that when you're pooped out from living a front stage life, this is some of what you might feel. If you're pooped out, living this front stage life, this is some of the stuff you might feel. You might feel fraudulent, even invisible, because you are not in the world as who you really are, faking it. Or number two, we project an inner darkness, an inner cluelessness on everybody else, making enemies of them and making the world a more dangerous place. I may know deeply I don't know who I am, but I'm sure going to make sure you get to be screwed up about that too. It's like passing the bad news around. Or three, being pooped out in a front stage life. Our inauthenticity and projections make real relationships impossible, leading to loneliness. And lastly, our contributions to this world, especially through the work we do, is tainted by duplicity and deprived of the life-giving energy of the true self, the soul. That's being pooped out on the front stage life. And so Palmer goes on to say the task of an adult spiritual lifetime is to contact soul, to nurture soul, to share soul. Okay, how do you do it? The spiritual masters of our world are united in one thing, and the one thing is this: we almost always cannot get to soul head on, by rationality, by a plan. Ted, I'm going to go home and I'm going to cultivate my soul. No, instead soul is approached from the side, if you will, by intuition, the side of your eye, that part of your brain is intuition, by poetry, by listening. Soul can't be parsed like parts of speech. Soul is discerned, sketched, and intuited. You want to get a glimpse of your soul, says Parker Palmer. Everybody, oh, yeah, sure, let's have a look. Think of this. The soul is like a wild animal, he says, tough, resilient, resourceful, savvy, and self-sufficient. It knows how to survive, soul does, in hard places. Tough soul, yes, but shy soul, too. If you want to see wild animals, do you rush into the forest galumping and chattering and making all kinds of noise? No. Because the animals go, that noisy human, they're bad news. But that's a surefire way to keep animals away from you. But if you want to see animals, you go in quietly and you sit for a while. And eventually you will see the squirrel and the beaver and the deer and the scrub jay. They will come to you because you have quieted your mind and your body. A metaphor about soul and silence, solitude and quiet. So friends, like our dear brother this morning on a Christian life journey, a guy in the gospel, who is really clueless. This poor guy is clueless, but I stand with him in his befuddled state because I am clueless too. His abundance of harvest sets off his front stage ego. What I want, what I have, what I must do, that bottomless demands of the front stage life. These demands are far away from that tough, resilient, resourceful, savvy, self-sufficient backstage of soul. Soul statements and questions are from that living, giving core, the human self, with, again, its hunger for truth and justice, love and forgiveness. Truth, what a concept. Justice, love, forgiveness. It's in these things, these four things are eternal, he says, in us. It is these things that survive in some mysterious way our own physical existence. It is the abundance of these things, says Jesus in this gospel, that is the barometer of a life well lived, a life, an eternal life, if you will. Thou fool, tonight thy soul is required of thee, and what of all this stuff you've stored up, who's gonna get it? Our spiritual wisdom teachers tell us to store up soul. This is a storage facility worth our life's journey and our life's labor and our life's attention.